Everyone, this is Libby, and I'm going to be talking about cells, tissues, and organs today, within the topic of principles of organization. So let's begin with tissues. Cells are the fundamental units or building blocks of all living organisms. Tissues are groups of similar cells that act together to perform a similar function. Examples of tissues are epidermal tissue, which is found in animals and plants. For example, human skin and the waxy covering of some plants. These are epidermal tissues. Muscular tissue, which is found in animals. Muscular tissue can contract to bring about force and motion. Mesophyll tissue in plants. This is capable of photosynthesis. And epithelial tissue, which is found in animals and plants. Epithelial tissue comes into contact with the outside world. For example, our skin. So just to recap on what we've learned, we know that the basic unit of life is cells, or the basic building blocks. They're like Lego bricks, and there are lots of different types of cells which work together to make larger structures like tissues or organs. Now let's move on to organs. Organs are groups of distinct tissues that work together to perform a specific function. An example of an organ is the stomach. The stomach contains the following tissues. Glandular tissue. Glandular tissue produces digestive juices that break down the stomach's contents. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue lines the stomach. And muscular tissue. Muscular tissue moves the contents of the stomach around during digestion. So, as we've just learned about organs and how they're groups of distinct tissues, we can consider some examples. So for example, we know that the lungs are an organ, the eyes are an organ as they're a group of different tissues, the skin is an organ, the liver is an organ, whereas mesophyll is the tissue that's found in plants where photosynthesis takes place. So as we've just learned, the stomach is broken down into 3 types of tissues which we could consider. These include glandular tissues for the digestive juices, muscular tissue which moves around the substance of the food, and epithelial tissue which lines the stomach. So to break down the tissues that we discussed earlier, we know that mesophyll tissues are found in plants, muscular tissues are found in animals, and epithelial and epidermal tissue are found in both plants and animals. So just to recap that one more time, the tissues in the stomach are epithelial tissues, glandular tissues, and muscular tissues. And this just highlights how there's lots of different tissues which come together in an organ to make sure it's really specialized for its function. So let's just think back on what we've learned. We know that tissues are groups of similar cells, whereas organs are groups of similar tissues that act harmoniously to perform a similar function. Okay, so that's all for cells, tissues, and organs. Thank you very much.